As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody. For whoever wants to listen, I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Rootin' Tootin' McGootin. What's up, dude?
Is this the last time we're going to be talking about Jersey with these people, or what?
No, because we got to do the reunion.
That might
unquote,
be
next week.
That might be the shortest episode that we ever do.
Well, are they just watching what we just watched and then talking about it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I don't know.
What are
We're
we
going to have a lot of
do?
different thoughts than what we have right now.
What are we supposed to do? I don't really understand that.
I don't know, but I just hustled here. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice I'm wearing a baseball jersey. I don't think that grown men should wear baseball jerseys unless you're playing on an actual team. I just came from my 28 and over men's league. And let me tell you, I caught 7 innings. I'm dying. I'm actually dying.
Steele's actually, he did not play baseball tonight. He just wanted to put a baseball jersey on to remind everybody that he played baseball. That's what he said. Hey guys, just letting you know. I did this tape.
Fucking
I know.
wrist
I saw your fucking tape. Yeah.
I need to take it off. It's going to start to burn. But anyway, we're here to talk about Jersey. Quite possibly the last Jersey finale with this cast. More than likely, like 99.99% sure this is the last one with this specific cast. Whether or not they bring OGs back for the reboot or whatever they're doing with it, it remains to be seen. But I do think that we saw the last of this crew together. And that you can tell when they do like the montages. We got like the throwback of through the years, all that good stuff.
The old VPR treatment, yeah.
The VPR treatment, which, barring a Scandival level event, which it could be in the cards. You never know. Something might pop up. Oh, bring the cameras back up. But for now, this is it. What did you think of the finale?
I thought that it was everything spilling over from a horseshit season. I do think that the cast is as frustrated as the rest of us at least to some extent, maybe not the entire cast, but I think they all kind of realize the writing's on the wall. There's not much to do. There's nothing that really can be done. You can't have these people sit in a room together. And we've seen that before to some extent, but not as bad as this, where you can't even get through a conversation. They don't want to be in the same room together. So you can't really have a show. And I think they all kind of realize that. I think the Gorgas have already kind of set that up because I was interrupted by a Ral's tomato sauce commercial for Joe.
Dude, I know.
Fucking, like, what the fuck is that, dude? Like, you've realized that the money's going to run out. I better get that advertisement money in when I can. But yeah, I really do think that this is the end. I hope that this is the end because this sucks.
I will say this, as far as episodes this season go, that was a good episode. I mean, yeah, it was crazy and it was a lot of yelling and all that kind of stuff, but it was arguably my favorite episode of the season for what that's worth. It was just nice to, even though they're at each other's throat the whole time, to see the whole cast together, to see them get into it, to force Teresa to get involved, to force Melissa to get involved. Obviously, Marge has been involved, but I feel like the entire season we've been skirting around issues, and it's all this group talking about how they feel about it, but then the other group, but no one ever comes together. So at least they came together and went out on a higher note. I'm not going to say went on a high note, but a higher note than we've seen. Because if that's the last time we get this crew together, I want them to at least have a final farewell. And that is what we got, for better or worse. And I don't think we got nearly enough to get rid of a reunion. I think that we definitely should still have that.
I thought it was going to be way worse, if I'm being honest, based off of the way that they teased it, the things that we heard about what happened, the fact that everybody in the cast was talking about how we can't, like, they just do not want to be in the same room together. That's really all it is. And if you can't come together for a reunion for a housewife show because you can't be in the same room together, then yeah, you don't deserve to get another season. They need to get rid of almost everybody. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. We never really do. People are arguing semantics online because Andy said reboot and they said that doesn't mean that the whole cast is gone. And everybody keeps pointing to the RHONJ reboot where the whole cast was gone. So it's a complete clusterfuck, and we're not going to hear anything for a little while. So not really sure, but I do agree with you. This was better. It's not like the rest of the season was any good. This was at least watchable. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
So, yeah, it was entertaining adjacent. Yes.
Entertaining adjacent.
Yeah.
I do have a question, and it's a rhetorical somewhat question. And I sent you something earlier on the topic, but I just have a question. And this goes out to a certain type of RHONJ fan, a certain type of Jersey fan, not the casual viewer, not the casual Bravo fan. And this is not about anybody specific. This is not about any podcast, any cast member. This is about a certain type of individual that you've seen them on Twitter. You've seen them in your comment section if your views do not align with theirs. And it is the radical Jersey fans. And they will not shut up. They are relentless. They will say the most ridiculous, outlandish, meanest shit you've ever seen in your life over a reality TV show. And my only question is, what the fuck are you going to talk about now? Now that this show is gone, how the fuck are you going to stay relevant? I would love to know what their thought process is. Are they going to start posting shit from like years ago and getting in arguments over that? Like, what is going to be their bread and butter now? Because their entire personality, their entire shtick was based around this show. So what the fuck are you going to do now? Nothing makes me happier about this season ending and this potential series ending than that group of people not having shit to talk about anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting because, I mean, at least we won't have dedicated exclusive episodes about this cast. So we won't have clips from our episodes that go into talking about them. Now, we do know, based off of how RHONJ ended, the people, the cast that was on RHONJ, at least the mainstays, they're still relevant. They still pop up in the news all the time. We'll talk about them here and there. That's what's going to happen with Teresa, Melissa, Marge. The Fudas are going to do whatever the hell they can to stay relevant, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about them here and there, but we're not going to have to deal with those comments because that's what's going to happen. Twitter is still going to be a hellscape for everything and anything Jersey related. It's going to be funny to see how they react to the new cast. They're obviously going to hate them and they're going to rip them apart.
Terrible.
But we're still going to see those same people talking about people like Teresa and Melissa and Marge. We just won't care as much because they're not on our TV anymore.
Yeah, it won't matter. That's my whole point. It's like it's irrelevant now. Now you're like that old man screaming at a cloud. Like, yeah, it's just no longer relevant, and it's so great. That is my silver lining.
That's the silver lining. I like that. Yeah,
that's the silver lining for me. But without further ado, let's jump right in. We start out with a pretty heavy first scene, and you get Marge and Fessler. And they're talking about the wreath thing. And it's interesting because in this scene, Marge says, Jackie's dead to me now. Now, she already knows the information that she's going to drop later, but she doesn't let on about that now. She says, she's dead to me now because she's the biggest hypocrite. I did not know that was foreshadowing until the drop later, but I thought that was really interesting that she's putting little seeds together. And this was much more of a classic Housewives episode in which you get like a little teaser here, a little hint there, and then you get the big payoff at the end. We haven't gotten that with this show in a while, so I did appreciate that. But they're talking about the recap of the Marge roast, the roast of Marge Jr. And Fessler said it wasn't presented to me as a roast. And again, to the Fessler thing, like, what did you expect? Like,
well,
did
she
you
said
really think
last
she would be
week,
mad?
She said last week when and look, I mean, this is just Fessler not using her brain because as she worked through it with Marge, she realized exactly what it was. It was a Marge takedown. It was a Marge burn at the stake, if you will. And she goes, oh my God, it sounds a lot worse when I actually explain it. Yeah. So why are you still talking about the fact that you didn't think that that's what it was? Like you should have realized that and then just said, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. And I should have realized what this was. Like, how do you not know what you're getting into? Fessler has completely fallen off the face of the earth for me this year compared to last year. Last year, she was a little comical relief. This year, she doesn't even need to be on the screen. I just don't care when she's there. No,
but I do think that I think she's, I don't know. I think there's something there. Maybe I'm holding on to nothing.
Yeah, I think you're holding on to nothing.
Maybe. I mean, that's kind of apparent. She bounced from the antics at the end of the episode. She couldn't even handle it. So yeah, I just don't think that this is her place. Yeah, I want her to be good because last year I really enjoyed her, but they start recapping when Dolo gets there just about the anxiety from the trial that she's had for the past few years. And they start talking about exes, Louie's exes in particular. And she's asking Marge, like, when did you contact the ex? We're trying to get the timeline down on when you talked to her because apparently it was before this. And she goes, no, I never talked to her before 2022. It was the first time we made contact. And I don't really know her, but I've seen her at events. And I was like, okay, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshit right away. As soon as she said events, I called that out too.
Yeah, you definitely have met or at least talked. You don't just like see her off in the distance and go, oh, hi, and like give her a little half-assed wave. There's definitely been contact, but the biggest thing is just everyone's tired of it. Like Dolo's tired of it. The audience is tired of it. Marge is holding on to it because she has a bomb to drop, which we find out again later. And that was her whole premise here was she wants to drop bombs at this quote unquote roast. I've got bombs to drop. And I'm not going to lie. When I heard that, I was like, nah, no, you don't. Like, it's going to be more of the same shit. She did have a big fucking nuclear bomb to drop, but I didn't buy it. And I was like, this is going to be another build up to nothing. So I'm glad it actually paid off. But right after this, and I think I want to get your take on what this reaction was specifically, but they're talking about the summit, the takedown of Louie summit before the reunion last year. And Marge is like, yeah, I invited you to it. She's like, no, you didn't. And it starts to ramp up. And she goes, well, you're a fucking liar. And just goes in. And Dolo loses her fucking mind and snaps on Marge. And it's like, you're not going to call me a fucking liar. You're lying through your teeth. And I want to know what you think that reaction was for. Was that actually because Marge was challenging her integrity? Or is this everything all encompassing just blowing over?
I think it's everything all encompassing blowing over. And for whatever reason, Dolores is still defending Teresa so much. And I don't see it. I don't understand it. There must be things that happen off screen where they are a lot closer than they appear to be on screen.
They double date a lot. Like her and Paulie go out with Louie and Teresa a lot. Like that happens.
She's really defending Teresa. And I think that she's probably a little scared because like we said last week, Teresa she's not acting like Teresa. She looks like her mind is in 50 different places and it's not on the TV show for sure. So I think that if we wanted to look at what Dolo was doing, it's really just that everything's boiling over. Now, I want to dig a little deeper. I do think that Marge probably did preface it by saying, hey, yeah, come over here and do a little reunion, a little reunion review, if you will, to try to gear up for this thing. Of course, Dolores should have realized we're all going to meet at Marge's off camera before the reunion, a week before the reunion. Of course, that's what it is. Like, you can't get that mad about that. You know what this is going to be. It's at Marge's house of all places. Everybody's getting together except for Teresa. Like, you should have known that that's what it was. So I didn't
know that it was happening, is what her claim is.
I think she was invited.
I think that it was one of those where it's like, just remembered differently. I could definitely see Marge acting like she made more of an effort to invite her. What I imagine actually happened is Marge, like in passing, was like, "Oh yeah, we might get together later, like before the reunion," and that was it.
I will say that Marge was petrified, though.
Dude, she was terrified.
Dolores going after her. She is very scared of Dolores.
That was Dolo from Pattison.
Oh yeah,
you don't fuck with Dolo from Pattison. That was the Pattison came out, and Marge got scared.
She was scared. Fessler was secondhand scared in the background. She was gripping a pillow. She was holding onto that pillow for dear life while she was going through all of that. Like, I don't know if I can I can't do anything around here. But no, look, I mean, Marge lied through her teeth most of this episode. I feel like everything that she said was a contradiction to what she had said earlier.
The timeline gets telling the
truth to. The timeline is completely fucked up. I pointed out because I actually had to scroll back because I wanted to make sure that she didn't misspeak. But she tells Dolo during all of this, yeah, I talked to the ex a little bit here and there. It was just DMs. Okay.
Right.
If it was just DMs, then why later in your confessional did you say, I called her immediately? So you do call her. And this was 10 days ago. So while you're
DMs, how do you have your number,
Exactly. The whole thing is complete fucking bullshit. Once again, Marge is lying. I keep thinking of Marge from Pee-wee's Playhouse, but no. Marge was lying through her teeth this entire episode. She knows so much more. She was definitely talking to that ex way more. Wouldn't be surprised if there's other people. She's talking about fucking family members. It's the whole thing is it just stinks. It just stinks of lying. It
and
definitely
it's great.
stinks to high hell. Yeah.
And it was fucking great. Finally, like we get some real shit to sink our teeth into in the last episode of the actual series.
Yeah.
But hey, go out with a bang, I suppose. But they do set the stage for this last rites dinner that they're going to have, where everybody gets to sit across the room. And as soon as I heard that was the setup, I'm like, they know that this is over. The production knows this is over. The cast knows this is it. Like, you get one chance to say your piece, and that's a wrap. We're done with this show, or at least with this original cast. We're going to move on from some of you, at the very least, if not all of you. So as soon as they set it up that way, I'm like, okay, so they all knew the writing was on the wall. Production did as well. So that's, this whole thing is an homage to, here's your last chance. Like, this is Jersey's finest. We're going to pit you against your rival and say whatever you want.
And that's the other thing too. And I'm not, obviously I'm not jumping to the end here, but the way that they all walked in, that was like they were dressing up as Jersey housewives for Halloween.
It was like the mob wives.
The mob wives, but that's, you know, they used to dress like that in the earlier seasons. So it's almost like they were trying really hard to make this the one last Jersey hurrah. Let's go all in, girls, and just do it. But they can't get it out of their own way. So it was never going to work in the first place. But, you know, I guess, you know, A for effort, maybe.
It worked. It worked for me. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. But this next scene, you get Danielle, Fuda, and Melissa. And we find out that John potentially swallowed a little bone. That's what we've gathered, because he's not allergic to anything. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe Louie poisoned him.
I would be surprised if they all came together and they're like, well, does anybody know where that bone marrow was before? Where did he get it from? Is there any chance that Louie came over and just poisoned that thing? Because I could see it happening. He's got it out for me. Yeah,
Louie poisoned the bone marrow somehow.
Insane. Yeah,
they would actually have that conversation. No, obviously, I don't think that happened.
No,
for the record, let me just get that out there now. I don't think that's what happened, but I would love to know if that came up at all. But they do the Teresa's attorney recap. That's what everyone does in the preamble of this episode. We're just going over everything. And again, the big reveal from Teresa was like, yeah, Marge was talking to the exes, this and that. And Melissa's like, all of Louie's exes have reached out to all of us, to the point where I was at a conference or a dinner or something, and one of Louie's nieces from his last marriage, or two, I don't know how many times this dude's been married, but one of his exes' kids, or his niece, whatever the fuck, was like, hey, I heard you're involved with Louie, like, be extra careful, or like, be super worried.
Be afraid.
Be afraid. Was it? Oh, sorry. Be very afraid. I did write it down. Be very afraid.
First off, one, that's got to be a top 10 list of things that did not happen. I'm sorry, Melissa, but that did not fucking happen. There's no chance that his niece came over and stopped you and said, hey, you're on that housewife show that Louie's a part of now with his new wife. You should be very afraid. Okay, sure, Melissa. Yeah, we'll take your word for it on that one. Who the hell cares?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is like, who cares? But they do talk about Teresa and how she's visibly stressed out. And they're like, she weighs 90 pounds soaking wet. She appears to be hanging by a thread. Melissa's like, you know, I am concerned, or there's some concern. There's something's going on. We've already voiced our opinion as to what's going on. And I think that's a resounding agreement. There is resounding, like, a lot of people, despite the Looney Tunes that we have to deal with frequently on this show in the comments, most people are like, yeah, duh. We can all point in like the same direction as to who's the fucking problem here. And he's red and mad a lot. It's that guy. Okay. It's that fucking guy. But anyway, Danielle still wants to be friends with Jen. She still wants to somehow work her way through this, because they were tight early on. She actually gravitated towards Jen before she saw who she actually was, which, watch the show and I could have told you that. I don't know where we got to watch tape. You got to watch film, check the tape before you come on this show, so you know what you're getting into. And we saw last year, Danielle was not prepared. She came in unprepared last year, got smoked, and then had a different approach this year, tried her best. I can't knock her for that. She did try, but we'll keep trucking here. And, you know, you get that quick scene with Danielle and her family, and she's trying to figure out her shit with her dad. It sounds like they're moving forward. We're not going to dive into that because there's still nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about. And like, it just pisses me off every single time that it happens. Like that, I had a big problem with this, and it's not what you think it is. So they were talking about using the code words because they don't want the kids to be upset when they're talking about Pup-Up, because Pup-Up is an angel in their eyes, whatever. Okay. Why don't you use code words for everything else? You're talking about Jen Aiden or you're talking about when you walked out of that party and saw Bill Aiden and said, you're married to the devil. You're okay with talking about another woman and her life in front of your children, but you won't do this. It just goes to, like, it just pisses me off when things like that happen. I'm not supporting either side in this, but like, seriously, right in front of your kids, don't start talking about somebody else's marriage or another wife or anything like that.
That's fair. Wow, you don't usually get up in arms about stuff like
well,
that.
I'm so pissed off about the Danielle situation because there's very clearly something that you're not telling us. And yet you're trying to do this whole thing where you're trying to make your storyline about how your family's falling apart. And then you're going to get upset when somebody points out that you don't talk to your family. Like, there's more here. There's way more here.
There's
And
definitely
it
more
could be
there.
really entertaining. And it could be very much, I don't know, you might be able to get back with your family if you use this and you try to reach out to them. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could be going on right now. I'm just getting sick and tired of her talking about how she's like falling apart from her family. Her dad chose her brother. Like, okay,
What happened?
whatever.
Chose him.
What happened?
Chose him. Why? You know,
Yeah,
that would make a
exactly.
big difference in this whole thing as far as garnering support if we knew what the ins and outs were as to why anybody was selected over anybody. It's just he said,
Yeah.
she said, but it's he said, she said nothing. It's just
Yep.
he said, she said about something we do not know about.
Yep.
And you can't do that for 2 years. It doesn't
No.
work. You
No.
need to tell people.
You need to open
and let,
up.
Yeah, open up and then let people decide where they fall. You can't just say, woe is me without any evidence. That's all.
Yep.
It just doesn't track. Doesn't make any
And look,
sense.
this might be unfair, but the more that she talks about it, the more I think she's the problem. Like,
But
you
that's
keep
the
talking
thing.
about you're trying to garner sympathy from the audience, but you're not telling us what happened. I'm starting to think that you did something and you're not trying to tell us. Then
Well,
why are
that's
you
the
bringing it to the limelight? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Agreed. And that's the whole thing. It's like if you do not give information, all we are left to do is speculate.
Yep.
And when we speculate, it's going to start to turn towards you because
Yep.
that's all we know about. We don't know the brother. We don't know the dad very well. So we're going to start to point the finger. If you do not give more, that's what ends up happening every single time in these shows. You
Oh, yeah.
got to give a little bit at least. But moving on, we get to Louie and Teresa. And, you know, Louie's giving her the pregame, like chit chat, what their strategy is going to be. So, how are you going to navigate Marge? She's like, I don't know. I'm not very strategic, which is like, yeah, okay.
We know
Sure.
she's not strategic. I don't think she is
She-
at all. I think
Dude,
that
she's not
I
in the
think she
moment, but
tries to be, but she's so reactionary that all strategy goes out the window immediately. She might be able to sit down with Louis before these things and be like, "Hey, yeah, maybe I go about it this way or that way or whatever." Or she talks to Gia or her kids or whatever. But when the shit hits the fan, she flips out and will just like lose complete control.
she's not strategic in the moment. No, because she will
Yeah,
always get amped up. She is definitely strategic behind the scenes. She's definitely moving pieces and talking to people. So, agreed. When it comes to confrontational moments, no, she's not strategic at all because she loses her cool. Correct. But as far as doing sketchy shit and setting herself up, definitely strategic. But this should go to show anybody that has any doubts about this fucking guy that he's a Looney Tune and wearing a fucking very thin veiled mask, because he goes on to say, I hope Marge and her family suffer. I hope her son suffers. Fuck you, dude. What a lunatic. You're going to sit there and actually wish ill on her son? He's not on the fucking show. He has nothing to do with this. Point your finger at Marge and say, I hope that she suffers. That's still fucked up. But at the same time, at least she's part of the game. How the fuck are you going to point your finger at a kid and say, I hope that he suffers? And I know he's 20, whatever, but still, grow the fuck up. Dude, I think that anybody that falls for his shtick is just dumb at this point. You can't watch that scene and say this is a reasonable, rational individual that is definitely a good influence on Teresa, who's incredibly impressionable and going to follow this guy anywhere. A normal spouse, somebody that would support somebody, be like, hey, this is going to be pretty sketchy going into this. Make sure you protect yourself. What are you going to go after Marge about? Just at the end of the day, make sure that you're protected. Like, protect your. He'd be focused on Teresa, not trying to hurt other people. And his whole pregame speech is about inflicting as much harm on other people as humanly possible. And then he wants to sit there in a fucking stupid shirt that has something to do with namaste or peace or transcend.
Yeah.
Transcend these nuts, you asshole. Like, that's the dumbest shit ever. Like, both of them are the walking contradictions. And I'm so glad that they are potentially not back on our screen, because I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of the fact that we can sit here and talk about anybody, post it, do whatever. People take it in stride. They understand that this is tit for tat. This is what we do. They perform on the show. We talk about it. But God forbid you talk about Louie. His bots were all over our fucking comments. His fucking burners were all over our comments. We're not dumb. Clearly, it's you or somebody you know or somebody who pointed at us. It's not even fucking kind of hidden. So grow up. You're on a show. If you weren't such an asshole, people wouldn't come after you. There's a reason everyone points the finger, and it's this fucking scene. This is why. Peel back the mask. There he is. Hello. It was Louie the whole time. Who the fuck would have thought? Whew.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to personally congratulate all of the people that came for me in the comments last week when I went on my Louie rant. All those losers out there, all you fucking morons. God, you guys are such idiots. There were so many articles written about how terrible of a person he is this week, but last week, let's go after your poor old Shooter Magooter over here, just calling it like it is. This guy's just sitting here calling dudes assholes, and he is an asshole. How the fuck are you going to sit here and preach all this love and the love bubble and, oh my God, I love my family so much I would never hurt a fly, and then you say that on camera? You can say, like, obviously it's fucking horrible, but have the wherewithal to maybe say that off camera. Like, what did you think was going to happen? You're going to say shit like that on there, and everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, fuck Marge, we're totally on your side, Louie. Like, he's delusional, and he's a piece of shit. And he proved that he's a delusional piece of shit. He shouldn't be on TV. He's very clearly a con man, a piece of shit, and he just showed everybody who he is. And there's still going to be assholes out there that are supporting him, that are watching that scene, that will listen to us and comment on our videos saying, you guys don't know the whole story. Marge really pushed him. And look, I understand. Do I think that Marge talked to his ex? Yes, 1000%. She said that she did, and she has no shame in doing that. Is that super fucked up? Absolutely. It's disgusting behavior. Why are you reaching out to some dude's ex to get dirt on him so that you can use it against somebody that you don't like anymore? That's fucked up. You're also a vile human being. We've always said that Marge sucks. She's a terrible person. Marge can suck and Louie can suck. We're not on a team here. We're just pointing out people that fucking blow. And that's the two of them right there. So there you go. Louie blows a lot more than Marge does right now, but Marge is still a terrible person.
But we're still going to be labeled as fans of somebody, no matter what. No matter how many times we rip into everybody in this goddamn show that we fucking hate, by the way. We're not on a team. We don't like anybody. I can't say that enough. Fessler was the last man standing, and she's fucking out. So we do not have allegiance. We have not pledged fealty to anybody.
Yep.
Okay? And somebody commented like, oh, what were the gift cards for? It's like, we haven't gotten gift cards or been offered bribes.
Give us gift cards for the love of God.
We would take them. That's the thing. There will be signs if we get paid. Trust me. You'll be like, oh, wow, they're really supporting somebody. We'll make it, they're the best. We don't do that.
Oh, God.
We've never done that for anybody. So it's laughable. And the other part that it just makes me smile when that shit starts to go crazy, and it did, and it's starting to pick up steam again right now, actually. But they don't even realize that we're baiting them. Do you think that we post that shit without understanding what's about to come our way? Like, we do it intentionally so that you out yourselves as idiots, and time and time again.
To make it clear, we do actually think these things. We just know that by saying them and posting them, that the idiots will come out of the woodwork.
And they do every time without fail for this show. And even on the one where I called them out, I said, this fucking fan base ruins the show. They still commented. I'm like, dude, that was a layup. Yeah. I set it up and you fucking slammed it down.
Oh, I mean, they do it from their faceless Twitter accounts where they have
with 40 followers.
Teresa from season 9, a picture of her doing something, and it's like 40 followers, but 10,000 replies to all these people that don't agree with them, or they find other things. Like, they're just sitting in there typing in keywords all day on Twitter. Like, oh, I got to get involved in this. I got to get involved in this. Like, get out of your mom's basement. Yeah, get a life. Move on.
Anyway, that takes us to the Rails lunch. And I mean, we got a quick scene with Joe and Melissa, which is the same thing that Louie and Teresa were saying.
Whatever, yeah.
We're not going to reconnect is all that you get from both of those scenes. There's no resolution coming in our future. We're done. So that takes us to the rails lunch, and you get this flashback of happy moments as they're walking in, and they're dressed either as mob wives or a funeral. Jen Aiden, quote unquote, dressed for a party. I thought she was, you know, deplorable this scene, but also funny. Like at least she leaned into the shit. I can appreciate that. But the music for the walk-in was just like this heavy metal, like hard rock kind of shit, and it was just setting the stage for like a walk-up song where it's like everyone's getting amped. Welcome to Rails. We're about to get heavy. So actually the production value, again, if this whole season was like this, they might have had another season afterwards. But Teresa arrives last and acts like she's surprised that she arrived last. It's like either you did that intentionally or production told you.
Production did it. We know how the arrivals work. They stagger them. They pick who goes first and who goes last and everybody in between. So don't act like you're surprised that you're the last one.
And this is really important to point out. This is so important to point out. And Dev pointed this out to me. When she walks in and sees who she's sitting across from, Marge, she goes, I can't sit across from you. You're going to end up wearing this, pointing to her dinner plate. Okay. She acknowledges that I will probably throw this at you at some point because I hate you that much. And then when Danielle has a similar reaction and throws something at Jen Aiden, now Teresa's holier than thou, high and mighty. Like, why would you do that? Never resort to violence. Like, you walked in the room and prefaced it with, I cannot sit here because I will resort to violence. We've also seen you resort to violence in the past. So for her to then have this high and mighty approach towards Danielle, it's like, we don't do that. I'm like, you of all people don't get to say that because you walked in the room and declared you're sitting on. Well, whatever. I don't care what side of the table you're sitting on.
No, I'm saying if Jen had done that to Danielle, who Danielle and Teresa are supposedly friends, she wouldn't have had a problem with it. She wouldn't have said anything. She would have just tried to calm them down and try to keep the peace or whatever the hell she's trying to do. But she wouldn't have said, don't throw anything. And I don't even think Danielle threw anything. She lunged across the table, which, you know,
she pushed like that was the funniest thing is the lead up to this. People like she made contact with a pitcher. She threw it at her, hit her in the face. She might have pushed a pitcher at her and it like went in her direction and maybe it clipped her or something. But I was expecting a much more visceral, violent reaction than that. I thought that she made full contact and there was like blood and like glass everywhere. It was too much. Okay. In this instance, I will definitely say Danielle shouldn't have gone that far. There's no arguing that. She snapped, but that's what Jen does so well. She's that kind of person. She knows exactly what to say and exactly how to twist it and then play nonchalant so that she's just aggravating the other person. She's very, very good at this. And she does a very good job of it here as Danielle's trying to explain to her, this is why I'm upset. You know, the charity thing and all that. But her whole intro and how she's talking to Jen, I'm like, well, if this is your approach and you want to have some kind of friendship after this, this is not the way to go about it. All you're going to do is piss her off. And maybe that's your intention. That's fine. If that's what you're trying to do is just dig and dig and dig. Great. Then you did a good job. But if your intention was actually to have a friendship after this, you know that the words you're choosing and the way you're saying it is not going to result in that, especially with a person like Jen Aiden.
Yeah, you would have thought that Danielle would have come into this a little more prepared. She was tripping over her own words. It seemed like at most times she didn't even know what she wanted to say.
Maybe she got like overly emotional.
Maybe that's what her problem is. I don't know, because she seems to do that all the time. Jen, I felt like played this perfectly. Yeah, I thought it was, and at least in the beginning, you know, the last comment always goes over the line for any of these fights. But prior to that last comment, I thought Jen was hilarious. I thought she was absolutely dressing Danielle down, which was funny. And Danielle didn't know how to handle it. You would think by now Danielle would understand how to handle this, and she does not. And she flipped the fuck out. And you could tell immediately she started going for the low blows, talking about the husbands, talking about this and that, talking about how there's no love in your house, but there's love in my house. Like, all right, you lost. You lost this battle immediately.
I thought you did okay with you have 18 bathrooms and your house is empty. I was like, all right, that's decent. But here's the thing. And this is, you know, just the way the game works. If you go to husbands, she's going to come back at husbands. Now, saying, you know, Nate with the man boobs, fuck that. and fuck you for saying that. And then I love today, there was a post about Nate. I don't know if you saw that, but Danielle like did a photo shoot for him. He talked about how he was a heavier kid. As a formerly heavy kid, I appreciate that. And fuck Jen for saying, you know, the man boob comment, because it maybe is self-conscious. And we should never go to talking about looks or talking about occupations as Teresa does. Well, that's why you married a plumber. It's like, fuck you. You wouldn't have toilets in your house without plumbers, lady. So you're welcome. I don't understand that kind of shit. I don't understand body shaming ever. I think it's like the cheapest way to attack anybody. It's so, there's no couth. It shows,
there's,
have some
there's
couth.
no couth, especially like I'm pretty sure Nate actually came out with he went through some medical procedure. He had some sort of issue. I always forget the word because it's some crazy medical word, Gaio something or other. So he actually had a real problem. He's not just, you know, a frumpy looking guy and you just came after his looks. He actually had a medical problem. So yeah,
and he's also not frumpy looking. He's a handsome fella.
I
understand going after him.
No, it's just those types, and this is where the show is right now. Again, I do think that it started off pretty well for Jen. I thought that she really held her own against her. Danielle was spiraling. Danielle had to go low blow immediately, but it always ends that way. They're always going to go after the husbands or something that there's a rumor out there that you did this, and then it just completely spirals out of control, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. But again, Danielle, we talk about it. We talked about it last year. She does not know how to play the game. She cannot remain cool. She can never get through a situation or a confrontation without freaking the fuck out and going and crying in a bathroom. Like
she gets too frazzled.
And look, I mean, again, I'm in support of what Jen said, talking about her family. You keep bringing up your family and talking about how they're not there for you. Why? Are you the reason? Because we're all starting to think that. So I thought that was fair game too. I think it's just those last couple comments. It's just like, no, yeah, a little too far. But of course, it's going to go too far because nobody's going to be able to stop them.
No, and that's the whole point of this episode is this is it. So get your licks in now. Yeah. But we get the pitcher toss or whatever, the lunge across the table, which again, too much. Shouldn't have done it. She got under your skin. And in that moment, you concede as well. I mean, you were losing anyway, but that's a full concession.
Yeah.
Jen wins that altercation. But Melissa takes the opportunity to jump up immediately and go, because Teresa's trying like, no, you don't do that. She's like, yeah, she learned from you, white trash. And I was like, ooh. And then she's going back. She's like, whore, white trash, blah. I was like, I'm here for this. I like this. Keep going. I've been waiting for you two to square off all goddamn season. So at least you're actually talking to each other now. You're not really getting any funny shit in.
No.
But just repeating whore over and over again was just classic Teresa. And, you know, where you been? Where you been hiding? Maybe if you were doing this more often rather than faking this namaste bullshit, this show would be more fucking interesting. Instead, you phoned it in for the past 3 years. But
but I also don't like that. And this is one of our golden rules. Can't bring the kids into it. Melissa immediately going, I'm gonna go tell Antonia that you think her mom's a whore. Like, all right, leave the kid out of this. Like, no, this is between the two of you, not the kids. We've always said that. They've said that. How many fucking times have they said that in their separate family scenes, talking about how they're leaving the kids out of it and how sad it is that their aunt and uncle aren't going to be involved in any of this? Okay, then don't bring them into it immediately as soon as you feel like you need to. No, it's just stupid.
Agreed. I agree. But Danielle gets the boot. She gets kicked out momentarily. She's allowed to return later. Meanwhile, Jen is still hammering home. Husband's got the man boobs. It's like, all right, knock it off. Your husband's no catch either. If we're gonna play this fucking game, Nate's much more handsome.
Cheated on you. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's all you gotta say.
Read the room, lady. Like, you won, by the way. Like, as far as this went, she flipped out and potentially pushed something in your direction. She got kicked out. The producers are in there trying to calm everybody down, which I think is complete bullshit. Because if anybody else was throwing stuff, the producers would be like, "Oh, all right, yeah, we're gonna try to clean this up." But calm down a little bit. Fucking whatever. But yeah, the fact that Jen has to hammer it home is hilarious because you are living in a glass house, lady, with 18 bathrooms.
You're an 18 bathroom glass house, and your husband's living in the pool house. All right, let's not forget. We know where Bill hangs out. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The only place that he hangs out in your house is when you're filming. He sits at that little couch at the end of the bed, so you can set up a scene. Yeah, the cuck couch. He sits on the cuck couch. You set up a scene for him. He pretends to be interested. Then he goes and rips a fat blunt in the pool house and goes to sleep to avoid you. So yeah, you're right. Once you win, walk away. Let it simmer. You don't have to do anymore. Take the win. That's what the ladies of Jersey need to have. Like, you know, they have like signs written everywhere in like clubhouses and stuff. That's what they need. Take the win. Walk away and take the win. It would work out so much better, but they all stick their foot in their mouth. But Fessler can't handle it. Fessler is over it. You guys are all used to this level of disgusting, and I'm not, which actually that line I thought was really funny. I was like, yeah, you didn't realize what kind of depravity you were entering into. This is the norm. This has been simmering for a while, but we've seen this for years, Fessler. Welcome to the show. This is nothing, by the way. So you're just not cut out for this life. And that's okay. You don't have to be. But she leaves. And I was like, that sucks. Like, at least stick it out.
Yeah, at least
you know,
stick
if you're
it out.
going to be part of the show.
Your fucking idea. I know it's more Dolores's idea, but like you're co-hosting it and you're not even getting involved. Nobody's coming after you. Like, what are you worried about? Unless she's got something to worry about. Maybe she's
maybe she has something to worry about.
Who
knows?
But we'll never find out.
Guess what? Who cares?
Yeah, that's a good point. Wow, I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, because we don't need to know. That's where I'll leave that one. But Marge and Teresa start to go. It's their turn now, and the timeline gets brought up again. And she says, March 2022 was the first time I spoke to the ex. That contradicts what she said to Dolo earlier. So that is already a chink in the armor. Immediately, right out of the gate. And Dolo's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The story changed in a confessional. But the subpoena comes up. I guess she did get subpoenaed because she didn't deny that. Yeah. So I guess I don't understand how subpoenas work.
I still don't really get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand how they work. I thought that was mandatory, but hey, what the fuck do we know? We don't claim to be lawyers here, nor have we ever, despite what you may think. But she brings up that the only reason I spoke to her was because I found out that you were speaking to Laura, which once again is so black and white. You're doing the same goddamn thing. How are you so up in arms? And now your husband, the peace guy, is wishing ill will and harm on Marge's entire family, but you're doing literally the same exact thing. You don't see the hypocrisy there? This whole show is built in a glass house on a glass island in Glass World. That's where we're at now, is Glass World in pot calling the kettle Blackland.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I don't have any more things.
You didn't want to go to like the universe level or anything? No.
No, because what's another one for being a hypocrite? Pot calling the kettle black, glass house, and that's right. Rich coming from you.
Yeah. And that's rich coming from you, universe.
That's rich coming from universe.
Yeah,
that's rich coming from universe.
There we go. Glad we
okay,
got that.
We'll take that. I'll take that. Me too. I feel better now. This is when Jackie decides to chime in, and she should have just kept her mouth shut from what we're about to find out shortly. She chimes in and goes, last year was a takedown. I wasn't going to say anything because I was there. And, you know, I wasn't friends with Teresa, but now I'm part of the cool kids club. And let me just say this right now. Last year was a total takedown. I didn't believe that either. Like, do I think they got together and discussed strategy? Yeah. Do I think that it was like, we're going to fucking skewer Louie?
I think the strategy was we're going to go after Louie because we think that he's doing this, 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 and this, and let's bring it to light. But as we pointed out last year during our reunion episode, they had all these fucking files and like they basically rolled an entire cabinet in there, a bejeweled cabinet, and they didn't open it once. Marge was rifling through papers at one point in time. Not one person gave Andy one piece of evidence. How many times have we seen somebody hand Andy a paper? Hey, Andy, read this.
No. Yeah.
So you guys had all that shit and nothing came out. So what was the whole point in any of this?
I have no idea. I still don't know what it is, but that's where she drops the line. You're full of shit. That's why you married a plumber. I was like, leave Joe out of it. Leave plumbers out of it. Again, you wouldn't have toilets and bathrooms without plumbers. So
I love that everybody gets so upset too. Like the entire other side of the table was pissed off that she said, what's wrong with plumbers? What's wrong with plumbers? Like,
I like that they did that.
But I don't know. It just kind of takes away from it. I just wanted to get to the point.
Away from it. I agree, but no.
I just wanted to get to the point.
That's fine, but I don't like that kind of shit. I don't like talking down. Like, it's just dumb. Like, take a different approach. It's just annoying to me. But it gets to the point where now Teresa's saying that, you know, maybe Marge was behind the Fuda's investigation last year. Like, maybe they got Bo Dietl. It's like, stop it. Like, stop it. And then Fuda gets upset. She goes, "Don't talk about my husband." And she keeps repeating it. And then Teresa pulls a 5-year-old move and goes, "You started it." I'm like, oh, we're there now.
To be fair, Fuda talks about Louie every chance that they get. That is all they talk about. That's been their storyline all year. So you can't get mad that somebody's talking about your husband. You're talking about their husband the entire time. Again, hypocrisy.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I will never, ever be okay with the "you started it" line. I think that is the most childish approach to any kind of argument. Have something better.
This whole show is a "you started it" line.
You started it line. Who started it anyway?
Whose line is it anyway? Yeah, there you go.
Who started it anyway, right?
Wayne Brady.
Oh, I just Siri'd my computer somehow. How did that happen?
That's
weird.
Says
Jesus started anyway, right? But I just Siri my computer, so now it happened to Jesus.
Oh God, now you're going to be in a loop. If you keep reading it, you're going to get stuck in a loop.
I'm reading my Siri now.
What did Jesus start?
It's not going away. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you the whole time.
Oh, you could? I thought it muted.
Yeah, that was great. That was lovely.
There you go, everybody.
That was a great sidetrack.
Reprieve for you, but this is where it comes in. Here it comes, and this was a bomb. This was a great bomb, and this is a great way to go out, honestly. And Marge starts talking about the Warrior video, and she's like, yeah, it came from you. And she says, even Jen, or no, sorry. Marge starts talking about the Warrior video. She's trying to get something out. And this makes me believe that Jen knows what's coming. Jen knows what's about to drop, or at least she thinks she knows what's about to drop, because she's like, Teresa, let her finish. Let her finish. It's like, maybe there's more here. And she lets out one of the biggest bombs we've gotten in a long time from any show, honestly. And she says, Jackie had Louie's ex at her house. And it's like the whole room's like, what? And it was 2021. Jackie's like, are you out of your mind? She starts denying everything. Marge says she found out last week when she called the ex, and she got the timeline and she's got the screenshots to back it up. The exact date of contact was February 25th of 2021. Melissa then chimes in and says, Jackie, if this is true, there's going to be proof. You should probably come clean. And she outs herself instantly. She goes, all right, I had her over. But like, we were friends at the time, and like, you were going after my husband. But what we can surmise from this, Jackie was behind all of it. Jackie was the reason that things were coming out about Louie in the social media, in the paper, you name it. Jackie was the one that was pushing the needle, because she was mad that Teresa was coming for her husband. And rightfully so, by the way, because she was trying to say that Evan cheated on you. So yeah, there's plenty there. You have a reason to attack her. What I don't like is you then try to buddy with Teresa. In that moment, just be like, yeah, fuck you at the time. Like, we're cool now, but I was really pissed at you. This approach that she takes is terrible. It's terrible. And I'm like, oh, Teresa's going to fucking hate her. Teresa does not have an issue with it. Totally
She gets it. She totally gets it. And then she goes to her confessional and she starts talking about how she understands it. Jackie was in a bad place. She thought that me, Teresa, was spreading rumors about the cheating scandal. So I fully understand it. But I was doing that from a place of love. Were you? Were you?
No,
you fucking weren't. No. This is what I think, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree. I think that Marge found out earlier than that, like a while ago, like definitely not 10 days ago, as she says, or a week ago. I think that Marge realized that, and she realized, I could use this as a smokescreen, because nobody likes Jackie. Jackie has alienated everybody in this cast. Teresa is clearly using her. I know that because I used to be friends with Teresa. Remember that? Remember that? Marge and Teresa used to be friends. How about that?
Yeah.
So
a long time
ago. I know that Teresa's using her at this point in time. I can throw her under the bus, create a huge smokescreen, and I can talk to Louie's ex as much as I want. I can sit over here and get as much dirt as I want to use at my will, whether she's peddling that to content creators, as we already know that the entire fucking cast is. Of course, she probably is. But at the end of the day, I can just blame Jackie. And everybody's going to say, whoa, it was Jackie doing all of this, because Jackie probably was doing that. Now everybody's doing it. Now you realize, holy shit, this entire cast is just spreading rumors online about each other. And that's how we got to where we are.
Yes. Period. Yeah. But Jen Aiden clearly wants Teresa to be mad at Jackie. She's like, all right, kick her out of the friend group now because she's not one of us.
She's
And
not
she's saying
worthy.
things like maybe Teresa hasn't, it hasn't sank in yet, or she didn't hear her and she doesn't fully grasp that Jackie was the one. Because Teresa, anybody that talks ill about Louie ever, you can say that he doesn't smell good and she's going to lose her fucking mind. She had a smear campaign against your husband. You have no problem with that whatsoever, but Jen says it perfectly. The actual answer is if she goes in on Jackie and kicks Jackie out of the group, says, fuck you, Jackie, in some way, shape, or form, Marge wins. And she cannot allow Marge to get any kind of upper hand. And I think that if she acknowledges Jackie's part in it and acknowledges that she's mad at Jackie, it takes some of the oomph off of Marge, and Marge kind of gets a pass. And I think that that's her not allowing Marge to win, and would rather not secede to Jackie, but almost just be like, yeah, whatever. You're also pretty irrelevant, so I don't really fucking care.
Yeah,
And now
I think
you have
it's
no
partly
friends.
that. Yeah, I think it's a lot of Jackie's completely irrelevant and nobody cares what she does or thinks. She's not a good source of information. Marge is the one that I want to take down. I've been fixated on taking down Marge this entire season and probably for years at this point. So yeah, this doesn't change anything. I'm still going after Marge. Now, again, there is a semblance of truth to this, that Teresa, now nothing's going to matter. Nobody's going to care what Teresa says to Marge. Marge can immediately say, why are you still coming after me? I just gave you this. And Jackie just admitted it. You should be going after her. Marge is scot-free at this point. She's good.
Yep.
She's clean. Nobody's going to go after her for now. We'll see what happens at this weird reunion that we're going to get next week. I don't fucking know. But Marge was still doing things. She just isn't as big of a villain in everybody's eyes right now as Jackie is. So she gets to go away from this. So it just doesn't matter. Marge immediately wins once she drops that bomb. And good play by Marge.
That's a great play by Marge, and way to keep it close to the chest until the end of the season. It was a good play, without a doubt. And it caught Teresa off guard. And I think it caught everybody off guard because nobody expected Jackie. Nobody suspected her the whole time. And that's my whole point with how Jackie played it. Lean into it. Fucking lean into it and make a name for yourself. You've been waiting to be relevant for so long. Here's your chance. You were successful and you hid it from everybody. You got away with it. Now you can just be like, ha, gotcha, bitch. Yeah, I came after you because you came after my husband. We're cool now if you want to be, but if not, whatever. Now you know that I was the one behind it. Ha, ha, ha. Criminal mastermind. Go fuck yourself. That would have been baller.
That would have been
great. Get up and walk out. That would have been so sick. But instead, you get this awkward ass scene where she's trying to leave and she's walking out and notices that some of the other castmates are out in the parking lot. And you get this really awkward backing up from it.
Yeah.
Bro, it was so embarrassing. It's like, that's going to be your last hurrah on the show, is you taking 4 steps back from the actual group because you're too soft to go after anybody and be like, yeah, that was me. Take pride in it.
Yep.
That's a big move. You got the wool over both Marge and Teresa for a long time, and they're digging after everybody, and you had them. So lean into it. Be like, all of you didn't expect me. You thought I couldn't do it, and I got over on all of you. Mic drop, walk away, take the win. But no, you want to still be friends with this person who doesn't like you, by the way, has admitted to using you as a pawn, and people still think Teresa's a good person when she's openly admitting that she's using people in her life to try to get Marge to get taken down. But whatever, it's a different time, different story. I don't care anymore. But Jesus, Jackie, you had your shot. It was right there. It was right there for you to walk away from this franchise as a winner. And instead, you're backing away from the group. Awkwardly, I might add.
And she even said that she was worried that Teresa was going to find out for weeks and weeks and weeks, and she didn't.
I'm actually glad you found out. I'm actually glad you are. You?
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Are you really?
If you were worried about it, and maybe this is just how my mind works, if you're worried about something, you should be thinking about how to spin it. How are you going to spin this when it eventually comes out? You're on a housewife show. You have the golden ticket to just be a complete and absolute terror of a villain. You were handed this, and you didn't take it. Terrible.
Anybody else in that room would have taken that and ran with it instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been so good.
That's it. That's a ticket to House of Villains right away. Like, even when Jersey's over, you go to House of Villains next year. You get to continue your Bravo thing. Nope, not Jackie.
Nope, she didn't have it in her. She didn't have it in her. When the time came to step up, she literally backed up.
Yep.
And that scene will probably be replayed over and over again because it was, I got the ick. I was like, oh, dude, at least walk out to your car. Like, come on, you can't back up now.
Yeah.
But the whole season ends, the whole series potentially ends with Dolo saying this group's not a family anymore. Cue the flashback, cue the memories, and yeah, that's a wrap. That's Jersey. Jersey's over. This Jersey is over. This version of it, at least. So
yeah, whatever we get next, we don't know, but it's over for now.
Over for now, and thank God. This whole show has turned into such a fucking toxic mess, and it's not even fun to watch. This was the first time I've had fun watching the show in 2 years, honestly.
Yeah.
So at least they gave us that. But let's get to some questions. I don't know where my phone is, so you question master.
Back to the question master. Here we go. Starting this one off strong with Brooklyn Shelley. Why were there gift bags? Why were there gift bags?
Parting gifts from Bravo. Yeah. Thanks for your service. Here's a gift card to the Olive Garden.
Did you notice during the episode when it went to black and white? Yeah. Like what?
I did. Well, wait. Maybe that was a deep cut. Maybe they know you're colorblind and like, I wonder if Shooter noticed.
Damn it. Why does this look so clear?
I can finally see this.
From Amazing Raccoon, was that as explosive as expected?
No.
No, aside from like, obviously the bomb from Marge was huge and pivotal to the ending episode, but I thought it was going to be like more people throwing shit. Like that's what they made it out to be. There was trash on the ground and glasses broken everywhere. Thought it was going to be way more than that. And it was
I was expecting a 9 out of 10. That was like a 6, maybe.
From Megan Hubbard. Do you believe Marge was telling the full truth?
No. Does she ever?
No, she never has. Never will.
There's something in it that's true, and then the rest is fabricated to fit her narrative. But that's this whole cast, also, by the way.
Yeah. From Anne Verone, do you believe, or do you feel that Bravo is being irresponsible, putting evil Louie on TV after wishing evil on Marge and her son?
No, I think that they were for the first time responsible by saying, "Hey, everyone that's rooting for this guy, here's what he actually says."
From Joey Melch, on a scale of 9 to 10, how terrifying would it be to have Dolores screaming at you?
10.
Yeah, I would have been scared too.
She's dude. Yeah, there's some people you don't fuck with, and Dolo is one of them. It's always the ones that don't get amped up often. So when they do, you're like, oh shit, she's actually pissed.
From Sarah Shears, magic wand. You're the executives at Bravo. That's a hell of a wand. I'd love that. What do you do with RHONJ?
Oh, recast the whole thing.
Full recast. I think it's the only way to go at this point.
Give it a year off and then full recast it.
From Mike Bros, did Steele implode watching this finale? Steele enjoyed it.
I did. Yeah, I did actually. So no, Mike. Thanks for thinking of me though, pal. Appreciate you. I imploded watching the House of Dragons finale.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. We'll talk about that one tomorrow. A lot of statements coming from people, not questions. It says ask questions. Come on. This is weird. From Nini B91. Who would be your ideal recast for the reboot? I'd love to see Snooki join the show.
Oh, wow. I actually am not against that at all. Yeah, I actually love that idea. Snooki, get JWoww in there, bring back Angelina. Who else? You know what? Fuck it. Bring back all the women from the Jersey Shore and cast them. I'm so down for that. Why not?
And this one to finalize it, because I don't know if you know this yet, but from AJJ265, did people let you know what specifically they enjoy about this season? Because we did ask them last week.
They did. A few people did. They said that the drama was fun. They said that Teresa, a lot of them were clearly Teresa people.
Oh.
Or they were saying that Teresa is bringing it like, and that's the other thing. There, like I was reading a few tweets and stuff as I was scrolling through just reactions to this episode, and everyone's saying like, there is no storylines without Teresa. It's like, yeah, that's the point, because the storylines are boring as shit and they all are centered around her. That's the problem, actually. No one's denying that she's taken center stage time and time again. It's the fact that she has to take center stage about the same shit, and we continue to talk about it. That is the problem. No one's saying that she's not the driving force. She's gets her credit where credit's due. Sure. The point of that is it's a tired fucking storyline. Nobody wants to watch it anymore except for tree stumps, and they're going to sit there and die on that hill forever that she is the show. Great. She maybe she was, but that show just died. So what does that tell you? And people don't want to watch it anymore. The general population, the majority of us are sick and tired of this shit. That's why the show is not coming back in the same capacity. Because of that. It's the same reason that everyone got up in arms that RHONJ got rebooted. It's like, well, you stopped watching the fucking OGs. They're going to keep them on if you're watching the show, and if people are talking about it in a positive way. If the fan base is shitting on it constantly and you stop watching it, it's going to go away. So that I never, ever will understand those arguments. It's like, yeah, okay, she was the main point. The show sucks. So you're just saying that her storylines are boring. You're agreeing with us by not agreeing with us.
There you have it, folks.
One more, bud.
Steele's breakdown of the season. Yeah, we'll have to look. I mean, we'll be back next week to do whatever the hell they're doing. I don't know.
Who the fuck?
I don't know what it's going to look like. We might just go back and forth for a little while and reactions. Who knows? We'll find out. Stay tuned.
I don't know. Stay tuned for whatever the fuck we're going to get. I'm so over this goddamn show. I'm so over it. And I'm glad it's going away. Goodbye. Good riddance. Kick rocks. See you later. Oh, what a fall from grace. But other than that,
that's all I got. You got anything?
I do. We are back this week with some Rosie, some House of the Dragon, and some Bachelorette. So make sure you keep tuning in. And other than that, you got anything else?
Nope.
Brad's out here. Bye.
Later.